Hi, today we are going to make a shamrock craft for St. Patrick's Day. We're going to start with our paper. We have 3 pieces here. We have dark green, light green, and patterned. The patterned paper has 2 different patterns on the front and the back, and yours might not look exactly like mine. We have a variety, so whatever you got in your bag is what you will be using. The very first step we're going to do is we're going to take a ruler and a pencil, and we're going to cut our paper into strips. So beginning with your dark green, you're going to turn your paper. Each strip is going to be lengthwise, long, and skinny. You want to have them 1 1/4 inches wide. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure and make a tiny mark with the pencil at 1 1/4 inch right there. And I'm going to just do this all the way across the paper, the width of the paper. You're going to need to have 7 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If the 7th one is a little more narrow, that's okay. That's going to be the stem of the shamrock clover. The rest are going to be for the leaves. So you can tell I made pencil marks there. And for each pencil mark, then you can do a long line. And you can use a paper cutter if you have. That makes it a little easier. If you don't have a paper cutter, you can go ahead and take your scissors and cut all of your strips. So I'm actually going to take this over to the paper cutter and run through the strips. Remember, you want them the lengthwise, long-wise of the paper. So go ahead and cut the green paper, just the dark green one, first. That is going to be the full length of the paper. Don't do the light green or the patterned one yet, because they're going to be different dimensions. Okay, after you've done the dark green, you're going to move on to the light green. This is going to be the same width, so each one will be 1 1/4 inch. You're going to, again, just make a little mark, measure across with your ruler, and then if you want to draw the full line down, you can, or you can just use your paper cutter or your scissors and cut long strips. The difference with this one is when you're done, they're not going to be the full length. The full length of the paper is 11 1/2 inches. The light green is going to be 10 inches. So you're going to mark and cut off here this extra inch or so. So you want 7 strips that are 10 inches long by 1 1/4 inches wide. And you can go ahead and cut those. Next, we're going to take the patterned paper. You actually got 2 pieces of patterned paper. And they could be the same or they could be different. You get to pick which pattern you want showing more when you assemble. These papers are shorter, which is fine. That's the length that we need. Again, these are going to be 1 1/4 inches wide. And you can mark it across. You're going to need 7 strips of paper cut. They will be the full length because this is shorter paper already. So each one will be 1 1/4 inches wide and the full length of the paper. 7 strips. And you can go ahead and grab your scissors or a paper cutter and cut these last 2 pieces of paper. Okay, so now we're going to have 7 strips of paper for each color. 7 strips of the dark green, 7 strips of the light green, 7 strips of the patterned paper. And as you can see, they're the same width, but they're going to be different lengths. The dark green is the longest, then comes the light green, and then the patterned. You're going to make the loops. You're going to take the patterned paper, which is the shortest, and you're just going to fold it into a loop. And you can pick which pattern you want up. This is, we'll be showing more. So if you like this one, you would do it like that, or you can flip it over and have that pattern showing more. I'm just pinching it to hold it. And then I'm going to put it right on top of the light green, which is slightly longer, and loop that over. And then loop the dark green on top, pinching it so that you have 3. We're going to take our stapler and staple it. If you feel like it's shifting a lot, you can also glue it or put a little tape there. So you want like that. It's a loop with 3, the darkest, the longest one, which is the dark green on the outside, and then the light green, and then the patterned one in the middle. And you're going to go ahead and do this with all of the paper except leave 1 strip of each left that will be, of each color, that we'll put aside, which will be the stem. All right, so here's what you should have. You're going to have, and these are actually, if you notice, it's a different pattern paper. I had assembled these the other day, but it's the same thing. You're going to have your loops, and there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these loops. The last set of 3 strips, the 7th, we are going to set aside to make the stem. So now we're just going to pick any 2, and we're going to put a little bit of glue. You can do Elmer's or you can do hot glue. If you have a hot glue gun, I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of glue here and press them together. It's kind of like a heart. That's the one Shamrock Wreath. And if you feel like you need to put a little more glue down the middle, that's probably a good idea. Just going to slide in and press and hold that so that it adheres. Okay, that's my first Shamrock Leaf assembled. So then I'm going to quickly do this with the others. Just a little bit of glue. Press together at the base. Add a little bit more down the leaves into the center. You can see the steam coming off of the hot glue gun. If you do use a hot glue gun, just be careful because paper is thin and you can get a 3rd degree burn from a hot glue gun. So be careful. And I have 1 more to glue. Quickly press that one down. Add a little bit more of glue in here to reinforce. All right. Now it's starting to take the shape to look like a little bit more like a shamrock. I'm going to lay it down on the table. It's a little easier to assemble it. So if you can just picture a 3-leaf clover, you've got the 1 leaf up top and then the 2 coming off the sides. I'm just going to lay them like that for now. We have to work on doing the stem. So you should have a strip left of each. And what you're going to do, I actually already did mine, I'm trying to undo it to show you, is you're going to layer it the same way. So you have the pattern paper in the middle. Oh, actually, I did this opposite. I put the dark green. So I'm going to switch that. I did that wrong. So you're going to take your 3 pieces of paper. Now you want this to be a stem, so you're just going to try to eyeball it in the middle. It's going to come up like that. It's going to be a loop, but you don't want it to be like a curvy leaf loop. You want it to be a little more stem-like. So after we staple that, what we're going to do is just kind of do 2 folds. I'm just lightly creasing it. And now it looks more like a stem and less like a leaf, as you can see. So I'm just going to put that, lay that out. I'm going to slide this back because I need a little more room on the table. So I have my top leaf, the 2 side leaves, and the stem on the bottom. Looks like a shamrock. The shamrock needs to be assembled into one piece. So getting near the end, you're doing a great job. You should have 2 circles left and a button and a piece of yarn, which mine migrated over that way. I'll grab it in a minute. Take one of your circles. Mine happen to be 2 different patterns. Yours may or may not be. Doesn't really matter. And this is going to be crucial to holding this together. So you're going to, I'm actually just going to back this up and put the paper in the middle, the circle. I'm going to just glue, starting with the top leaves, it on. You don't want to glue it all the way onto the circle. You just want the part, the bottom 1/4 inch or so, where you have stapled it, flattened. You're going to put that, glue that on to the paper. Okay, and then so it's like this. And then you will glue the other 2 also onto the paper. I'm going to pause it and do that. Well, actually, I'll show you. So put a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to press down my top one. I'm going to add some more glue. And put the sides on. And if you feel like you need a little more glue in the middle, go for it. I'm just going to kind of press this all in together, squeeze it, hold it on for a minute so it really adheres down. Gluing all of the leaves onto the circle. Let me back the camera up so you can see that better. Okay? And then finally, we'll put the stem on the bottom. So the wide part is the bottom of the stem. It's like a triangle. The top part here is where we're going to glue right down onto the rest of the circle. There I have my shamrock, which is nearly complete. If it's a little off center, you can just kind of bend it, manipulate it a little, re-glue if you need to. And then we're going to take the second circle, flip it over to the side that does not already have a circle. And this we're just going to glue on top just to make it look nicer. Have a clean finished edge and a pretty trim. And then finally take your button and glue. This is purely trim. If you don't like the look of the button, then just leave it off. It's not functional at all, but I think it looks cute. So I'm going to press that in right there and hold it. And then in a minute, I'm just gonna let this glue dry, and in a minute we'll do the final step. Okay, so you need to hang this lovely shamrock. There's a piece of yarn that was included, green. If you have ribbon and you would rather do ribbon, that's fine too. I'm going to take my piece of yarn. I'm going to fold it over exactly in the middle. And then right near the edge part, I'm going to just tie a small knot, just like that. So I have a big loop with a little knot on the end. Now where the knot is, I'm going to go on the back of my shamrock, the part that does not have the decorative button, in the back, and I'm just going to sneak this under the circle here and glue it on. Press it down. If there's extra, you can trim it off. Trim off the tiny little bit of extra by the knot that I tied. And now I've got my lovely shamrock wreath ready to hang for St. Patrick's Day. I hope you enjoyed it.